Today, we're going to dig into a system built around a 9-digit number. It looks official, it's used for official things, but its whole legal identity is, well, a paradox. It's a number that exists only because another number doesn't. So here's a little riddle for you. What number is structured just like a social security number and is used for official financial business, but legally it's a completely different beast? The answer is the ITIN. And there it is, the Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, or ITIN for short. Now pay close attention to that phrasing, tax processing number. That is super specific, and it's not an accident. It points directly to its one original purpose. And you see that big number 9? Yeah, that's your dead giveaway that you're looking at an ITIN, not an SSN. So you might be asking yourself, why did this parallel system even need to exist in the first place? Well, it all boils down to one fundamental problem the IRS was trying to solve. Let's go back to 1996. The IRS had a real head-scratcher on its hands. You see, U.S. law says everyone who earns money in the country has to pay taxes on it, no matter their immigration status. But here's the catch. How do you file a tax return if you don't have a social security number? You couldn't. So the ITIN was this clever workaround, an administrative bridge they built to solve that very problem. Okay, and this right here is where you see the fundamental difference. An SSN is the key to work authorization and federal benefits. An ITIN, on the other hand, does none of that. It specifically does not give you the right to work, it doesn't change your immigration status, and it doesn't qualify you for Social Security. Just think of it like a one-way street, designed only for reporting money to the government. That firewall is the whole point. All right, so we get the why. Now let's jump into the how. How does this all actually play out in the real world? And this form right here is the Gatekeeper. Meet Form W7. It might look like just another boring piece of government paperwork, but this single document is the only way into the entire ITIN system. It's the official handshake with the IRS for anyone who needs to pay their taxes but doesn't have an SSN. You know, they don't just hand these out. The process is tough for a reason. You can't just ask for an ITIN out of the blue. You have to prove you actually need one by attaching a whole completed tax return to your application. You also have to submit original identity documents, like a foreign passport. Think about that for a second. Mailing your original passport. That's a pretty high bar. Okay, now this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. The ITIN was built for one thing, and one thing only, taxes. But, and this is the crazy part, it ended up having this huge, totally unplanned side effect. It accidentally became a key that started unlocking doors to the entire US financial system. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. Banks need some kind of reliable official ID number to open an account, and boom, here's one, issued by the government itself. So financial institutions started accepting it. And just like that, a tool designed strictly for tax compliance became a gateway to basic banking. And once you have a bank account, what's the next logical step? Credit. Lenders started using ITINs to issue credit cards and personal loans. And this is a monumental leap, because for the first time, it allowed people to start building a US credit history, which, as you know, is the absolute bedrock of your financial life in America. And it doesn't stop there. From building credit, we see this incredible jump to the biggest purchases you can make. Some lenders will now offer auto loans and even mortgages to people with ITINs. This is just a powerful example of an unintended, market-driven consequence of the program, a tax number that's now enabling wealth creation. Okay, but it's not all smooth sailing. This whole expansion created some serious risks and, frankly, a lot of debate. The real issue is this constant tension between what the ITIN is supposed to be for and what it's actually used for in the real world. This right here is the core promise from the IRS. It's the bedrock of the entire system. There's this legal firewall, Section 6103, that basically says what you tell us for tax purposes stays with us for tax purposes, period. Without that guarantee of confidentiality, people would just stop filing, and the whole system of voluntary tax compliance would fall apart. And yet you see this right there in black and white for tax purposes only. But wait a minute. We just saw it being used for car loans and mortgages. And that contradiction creates this huge legal gray area for absolutely everyone involved. So the IRS has some pretty strict use it or lose it rules to keep things in check. And I-10 is not forever. If you don't use it to file a tax return for 3 years in a row, it just expires. And this is super important. The second someone becomes eligible for an SSN, they have to stop using the I-10. It's designed to be a bridge, not a permanent destination. All right, so let's pull back from all the nuts and bolts for a second. What's the bigger picture here? What's the real tangible economic impact of this entire system? Just let that number sink in. $5.8 billion. That's the net contribution to the US economy from ITIN tax returns in just one single year. This shows that the system isn't just some administrative checkbox, it's a massive source of revenue. And behind that huge number are millions of individual stories. This quote from a filer named Ernesto really gets to the heart of it. For so many people, it's not just about following the rules. It's about building an official record of contribution, a paper trail that says, I am here and I am contributing, all in the hope that one day that record will count for something more. Which brings us right back to the central puzzle, doesn't it? What is this thing really? It started life as a simple tool for tax collection, but the market transformed it into a key for financial inclusion. So, which is it? Is it just a piece of IRS bureaucracy, or has it accidentally become a pillar of the American economy? The answer, it seems, is both.